Good evening, friends. Namaskar, dosto. I am Dr. Sanjay Kalra, your friendly and familiar endocrinologist, and you are watching Dr. KK's Med Talks, Pharma Talks with Dr. Sanjay Kalra. This is part of our non-stop show series. हमारे आज के non-stop show का 865वां 865th episode है, but it's the fourth episode of Pharma Talks. इसका चौथा episode है. We have recently kick-started a special series called Pharma Talks, where we invite and speak with guests from the industry, from the pharmaceutical industry. Let's talk about today's theme. Now, the pharmaceutical industry is a very important player in the Indian market. Employment has grown rapidly, and according to a report by the Indian Brand Equity Foundation, this industry now employs 3.5 million people. 2020 में अब तो ज़्यादा हो गया होगा. So 3.5 million people employed directly, and if you multiply by 4, counting हो गई गड़बड़, 14 million. Yes, so 14 million minimum would be the number of dependents, people whom depend upon the pharmaceutical industry for their livelihood. The pharmaceutical industry is expected to create another 3 lakh to 5 lakh jobs in India by the year 2025, and this is according to a report from McKinsey. तो एक और 3 से 5 लाख jobs create होंगी अगले 2 साल में. Our industry is the third largest in the world by volume and the 13th largest in the world by value, according to a report by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. तो ये भारत का नाम, भारत का झंडा भी लहराती है across the world. And demand for pharma professionals has increased by 25% since the year 2020. So a very lucrative opportunity for those who are searching for jobs. The pharma industry in India provides a wide range of career opportunities: research, development, quality control, production, medical marketing, regulatory, medical writing, clinical research as well. So let's go to our topic for today. आज का हमने topic ये चुना क्यों? हमारा टॉपिक है career opportunities in the pharmaceutical industry. क्यों चुना? That we've all realized. But let's introduce our guest, someone who is perfectly qualified to teach us, to explain to us today. Warm welcome, Dr. Anil Shinde.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Dr. Shinde is a medical graduate with master's qualification in clinical pharmacology from the prestigious Government Medical College in Aurangabad, Maharashtra. He has had experience of working with various pharmaceutical companies: Alembic, Dr. Reddy's, Pharmacia, Novo Nordisk, and his career has spanned over 3 decades. Now, these are words which I really don't understand, but he has been responsible for various functions like clinical research, medical affairs, regulatory affairs, quality, pharmacovigilance. So we'll ask him what these mean. And of course, he has extensive research experience in the field of diabetes and obesity. He is passionate about working on drug development studies, and even more passionate about disseminating scientific knowledge amongst the medical community. And he currently leads the Nisha Diabetes Center in Yelahanka, Bangalore. Warm welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sir, we have people from across the country logged in, and good evening to you from Himachal Pradesh, from Kangra, where Civil Surgeon Dr. Vipin Bhandola is greeting you, Dr. Vedant Kulkarni, and also Swapna Jain Madam from Vellore. And the question is to you, how did you end up in the pharmaceutical industry? Could you tell us about yourself, your undergraduate and postgraduate days?
Yeah. So thank you very much, sir, for a kind introduction. Let me start with giving a thank note to you and IJCP, because this is a great opportunity to share my experience of 3 decades with participants across country. So how I started, I think it's a very interesting twist in my career when I finished my medical graduation, and then I was interested in becoming general surgeon. And I think for whatever the reason, I couldn't get a surgery registration during my time. It was purely on the 3rd year's mark in surgery or any subject for that matter. And for whatever reason, the rotation of the seat, open and reserve category, and all the different matters. So I was during the same time I was working as a house surgeon in Mumbai, and I came across some of the people in the pharmaceutical companies in 1991, and that time I learned that if I'm not getting surgery, I should switch to some other specialty which will be different than conventional medical practice. And that's how I decided to join MD pharmacology and join pharmaceutical industry. And that was very clear thought about what I want to do in my career. And that's how I started a pharmaceutical career with after my MD pharmacology.
Have things changed, sir, between now and then, in the sense the definition of pharmacology, the scope of clinical pharmacology, and the scope in the pharmaceutical industry? How was it 30 years ago and how is it now?
Yeah, I think it's a significant change. I remember my first organization was Alembic Chemicals, and at that time it was in Baroda. I was doing primarily medical affairs responsibility, new product launches, bringing innovative molecule. And those days, Patent Act was not in place. Hardly any clinical research was happening, but that was primarily sales training responsibility and bringing innovative molecules off patent or on patent products, because those days patent was not applicable in the country. After that, the patent was applicable, and that primarily it was my training as well as the product launches preparation. That was my core responsibility. But of late, it has significantly changed because of the regulation of the country, because of the need of the government of India's requirement to launch new products. And then that's why expansion happened in the clinical research as well as regulatory affairs, as well as in the pharmacovigilance. All those jobs have been added, and those expertise are required in a pharmaceutical organization.
So, sir, so many words being used these days. And good evening to you from Dr. R.S. Chaudhary. Sir is one of the senior most surgeons of Haryana state from Karnal. So
Thank you.
many words being used, like there is an abbreviation CMR, clinical, medical, regulatory. What do these words mean? What's the difference between clinical and medical?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. In a medical person in pharmaceutical organization or any global or national organization need to conduct a different functionality depending upon your domain where you are allocated. So CMR, the C stands for the clinical function, the clinical research we can say, or the clinical development of molecules. The M stands for the medical affairs, which is a disseminating scientific information within the scientific community, and R is regulatory affairs, dealing with regulatory affairs function. So, being a part of pharmaceutical organization and medical person has a crucial role bringing R&D, research molecules to the market. And that's why everybody will get access to the information about what's happening in the clinical development, how we can develop these molecule, and how to market these products. And the medical affairs plays a crucial role, and regulatory affairs team plays a crucial role in terms of bringing these innovative molecules in the market. So R&D organization is a standalone. They work in a silo, but to make these products commercially available, it has to run through clinical, medical, regulatory organization. Means you have to conduct clinical trials in the country like India. Then we have to submit these dossiers to the regulatory bodies. The regulatory teams takes care of those, and the medical team disseminates scientific information. What trials we have done, what is the outcome we have seen in these studies. So this is a quite extensive and labor intense work done by the medical as well as the clinical team as well as the regulatory team across pharmaceutical organization. So it depends upon the size of the organization and different categories, multinational organization and Indian national multinational organizations also. So and regulations are same for everybody in India. So here, every company, whether it is a Cadila, whether it is Novo Nordisk or AstraZeneca or Sun Pharma, the regulation remains same. There's no changes in that, and we have that strict regulation and governance system in the place. So I hope I have given some brief about. It's a quite exhaustive topic to know details about it.
You've spoken of so many things, and you said, हमने जो सीखा, what you said was, uh, research वाले research करते हैं. They make sure that the molecule is good, it is fit for use. But then to commercialize it, you need the help of doctors and pharmaceutical industry. फिर आपने regulations की भी बात की. So what we hear, what we understand is a very strong undercurrent of safety in this entire process. Bimla Kapoor madam and Anamika Anu madam have joined us, and a good evening from them to you. Uh, ये जो safety वाला चक्कर है, how does the pharmaceutical industry ensure that any new drug that comes to us is safe? And what do we do about it? How do we ensure safety?
Yeah. So I think, sir, it's a very core question you have asked, the safety. Any development of molecule for a pharmaceutical company, the safety is a core of development. The drug should be efficacious and drug should be safe. तो उसमें यही देखा जाता है कि व्हाट साइज ऑफ द नंबर ऑफ पेशेंट्स वी आर टेस्टिंग, उसमें सेफ्टी का पैरामीटर कैसा चेक करेंगे, how we check parameter of the safety. So depending upon the class of drug, we know the signals of the product, how it is going to be shown in the, how it has shown in the animal models, how it is going to be shown in demonstration of the side effects in human being or human volunteers or the patients, and उसका एक अंदाज होता है at the time of preclinical stage. तो उसके डेवलपमेंट के साथ में साथ साथ में फार्माकोविजिलेंस जो वर्ड यूज होता है आजकल काफी सारे कॉमन मीडिया में एंड कॉमनली यूज इन मेडिकल लिटरेचर आल्सो, वॉट एवर इट हैपन्स, पेशेंट के साथ कोई भी एबनॉर्मेलिटी होते हैं, सपोज पेशेंट चलते चलते रास्ते में गिर जाता है, पेशेंट को स्ट्रोक हो जाता है, या पेशेंट को कोई और बीमारी आ जाती है. So everything when the patient is a part of any study, that is reported as a side effect. Any untoward event other than the disease, even worsening of disease is also reported as an adverse event. तो उसमें क्या होता है, 500 पेशेंट, 1000 पेशेंट या 10,000 पेशेंट का, पूरे देश का, पूरे विश्व का डाटा कलेक्ट होता है. देयर इज अ मैकेनिज्म टू कलेक्ट दिस इंफॉर्मेशन थ्रू सॉफ्टवेयर एंड देयर इज अ टीम वर्किंग विद दैट. तो उससे क्या होता है कि हमें ट्रेंड मिलता है. This molecule, when is used in a typical patients of XYZ disease, and we use for a 6 महीने यूज किया है, तो इस तरह के साइड इफेक्ट होते हैं. वेदर इट इज एक्सीडेंटल फाइंडिंग or it is a trend what we have observed. So that is a part of data management. So that has seen, so इसके पीछे काफी सारा योजना होता है, इसके पीछे काफी सारा कंट्रोल एनवायरनमेंट में उसको रिकॉर्डिंग होता है, एंड उसके साथ साथ में रिपोर्टिंग होता है. And if there is some questions are unanswered at the time of reporting, the team will come back to the treating physician and ask some more specific details, and then it was shared in a complete dossier of drug development. So इसका एक बेस्ट एग्जांपल होता है सर, एक हम कोई भी ड्रग का एक हम लीफलेट देखेंगे, तो उसमें डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ 1000 टाइप ऑफ साइड इफेक्ट्स आर रिकॉर्डेड, कॉन्स्टिपेशन से लेके हेडेक से लेके डायरिया, ऑल दोज, बट ऑल दोज कम्स फ्रॉम दिस व्हेन द ड्रग इज अंडर डेवलपमेंट. उसके साथ में जब रिपोर्ट होते हैं, all gets captured in these kind of core companies core data sheets, that's what we call. And it is well evolved system, and we have to comply to the regulatory requirement. अमेरिका के जो एफडीए है, ईएमए फॉर यूरोपियन, ऑस्ट्रेलिया एजेंसीज, जापानीज एजेंसीज, एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट और इंडियन हेल्थ अथॉरिटी आल्सो, वी नीड टू रिपोर्ट. उसके भी एक टाइमलाइंस होते हैं कि व्हाट इज द टाइमलाइन. सम सीरियस एडवर्स इवेंट्स के लिए 24 आवर्स का टाइमलाइन दिया जाता है, non-serious के लिए some definite 14 days are given to the patients. So there is a well-evolved system for, and that is conducted, that is organized through the pharmacovigilance team.
So what we hear, a few keywords coming from your message. One is team, एक बहुत बड़ी team होती है. And then repeatedly, sir is saying that there's an entire ecosystem behind all this. So whenever a drug comes to us as a customer, there are lots and lots of people, lots and lots of trials, lots and lots of systems which have worked to ensure कि वो drug safe है हमारे लिए. And then pharmacovigilance means that we are remaining vigilant even after that, even after introducing a particular drug into the market. Uh, Dr. Paul has a question. His question is, sir, you've spoken of teamwork. That means many kinds of people will be involved in the pharmaceutical industry. So, one question from my side, which you might wish to take along with this, is what are the various degrees of medical and health professionals who can, find a career in our industry? But his specific question is there a scope for PG pharmaceutics in clinical trials, bioequivalence, or biomolecule industry? And then he goes on to ask, is there any validated bridge course or certification that I can do to improve my skill set and to accelerate penetration into the industry?
Okay. Yeah, it's a nice question. I think the when you have done a master's in pharmaceutics, there are plenty of job opportunities within pharmaceutical organization, from pharmacovigilance to bioequivalence as well as bioavailability studies. And depending upon the organization needs, the people will be hired in that role. But once you have done a master's course, I don't think so there is any specific course is required to do, and unless until you want to switch to some other area like the clinical research. There are clinical research courses after a master's qualification you can do that will help you to make a career in the clinical research. And coming back to your question, sir, what are the medical qualifications are required to enter in a pharmaceutical industry? And generally, all global companies as well as Indian national companies hire medical doctors of different background from different universities. MBBS is a bare minimum qualification. MD in pharmacology, MD in preventive medicine, MD in biochemistry, MD in general medicine. So depending upon those, any master qualification is welcome. Preventive social medicine also some of the candidates join. So that's one. Then dental stream also nowadays a lot of dental surgeons, BDS or MDS candidates also joining, as well as in terms of and some PhD in PhD in the drug development studies, or the somebody is working some oncology model, somebody is use in a diabetes research, someone has used work on a different chronic therapy like cancer research happening. All those PhD candidates also hired in a medical affairs team. Whereas in the clinical research, primarily it is M-Pharm or B-Pharm candidates, or the BSc or MSc, the biomedical sciences. They are hired in that stream, and the rest of the like the pharmacovigilance as well as the quality, all non-medical. I would say the pharmacology or the pharmaceutics or a pharmacognosy, all those masters qualification, non-medical, or we can say the paramedical qualification candidates are absorbed and they are trained for the job on the job.
So, would you like to share some tips with the audience, sir? What do we do to enhance our skill set as an undergraduate, as a postgraduate? And let's go one by one. Imagine that I'm a class 12 student and I want to decide, what kind of stream to take. I have done biology in class 12. So then what are the options I can do? And perhaps you could go up the ladder, undergraduation and then post graduation. And our final aim is career opportunities in the pharmaceutical industry.
Pharmaceutical. Yeah, I think it's a very broad question, and I can try to give a very specific answer to it. So, if you are done biology, that means you are interested in the medical science or the human biology or the plant biology or animal biology. The principles remain same. So that means if the person has a scientific mindset or the bent of mind is there, so person can go into the different streams. It can be clinical research, it can be the medical writing, it can be pharmacovigilance, it can be data management, it can be core basic research also. It all depends upon what is your interest and what is your basic qualification and what you want to do it. And I think opportunities are plenty, as sir you mentioned, the Indian pharmaceutical industry is exploding, and hiring of a different qualified team members and people are required in the industry, and we are constantly hiring, and constant recruitment is happening across India and worldwide also. I think it's a very vast stream, and it is ever growing. What I have seen 30 years back and now, the size of the organization is growing very rapidly because of the size of business. Opportunities are plenty, and there is a lot much can be done by every professional in India.
So, to make it simpler for all of us, let's look at some of the last few people whom you hired, you must have hired lots and lots of people, sir, over the past few decades, and you would have taken maybe 10 times as many interviews or 100 times. So, just a general ballpark figure, to hire one person in your last organization, how many interviews would you conduct? What would the competition be like?
Yeah, so it would be, I would say, 1:5. We will have a ratio, and the more qualified, like MD or specialized, so then it becomes a 1:7, 8 candidates. And so, in terms of any hiring in any business organization, I would say that because I have worked for the 30 years with the different business organization, and there's no compromise on a candidate's qualification, on the need of the organization. I think the hiring managers are trained and supported by management to hire a right candidate for that job. And it's not for the current job, the person need to take up the next level job also. And when we are hiring any entry level job also, we also see the potential of candidate. How is the attitude, how is the communication, how is the patient, how is the person's attitude towards work, and how is the upbringing in terms of the family values, and all those things are also important besides the core technical competencies, as well as his credentials, academic credentials also. That's also a very important
So, what I'm hearing is technical competency, and the next question comes from Dr. Abhi Sarode. So, first is technical competency, but then second is attitude, and also for the future, how much potential you have. That is also assessed by HR.
yeah.
So, let's take this one by one again, and we'll take the first question from Dr. Abhi, who says, "Sir, any scope for PG pharmacology in pharmacovigilance?"
Mhm. Yeah, as I said, it is it's a tremendous opportunity for any masters in pharmacology, or any other M.Pharm or PhD candidates. There are immense opportunities across India, different organizations, national organization like Cipla, Cadila, Sun Pharma, Torrent. So all companies, and as well as multinational organizations are also, there are huge number of pharmaceutical companies, and I'm listing few names which comes to top of my mind, but there are n number of organizations. There are more than 20,000 organizations within India, and different roles are available, and the jobs are plenty.
Greetings to you from Alina Zakat Sahab and also from Dr. N.S. Sharda sir from Ahmedabad. So, we are speaking today about career opportunities, and Dr. Anil Shinde is describing the various opportunities that we have. When we go for an interview, how do we prepare ourselves? So, I've got a degree. I got a degree in pharmacology. It could be a medical degree or a non clinical degree. And of course, there are some things that I know I've read from the book, but finally, it's going to be learning on the job. But how
Mm.
do I approach the uh, interview panel in the right
Oh.
manner? Could you share some tips for us?
Yeah. So it's an excellent question for the fresher in terms of like how do we prepare for any interview. So my first and most important suggestion to candidate is focus on your research project. Like you, when you are done any research project, like you must, if it is MD or if it is like M.Pharm or PhD, whatever research you have done, that is your core. The discussion will happen around that. But many times what I experience, like when the candidates come, they cannot answer the questions of their research what they have done. The interviewer may not know the details, but I think we need to be able to prepare ourselves well to explain what research you have done, what is the outcome, what we have seen from the research, and how it is beneficial for the science. That's a core technical round which is bare minimum expected. And the second is very important part of the interview panel. They will ask very random question: is a, tell me about what do you know about this organization. Like it is like the person is attending interview for Abbott India Limited, and suppose that So we need to do research. What is about India? What is the size of organization? What are the products they are promoting in the market? So that kind of information, at least you may not be having the core knowledge about organization, but still there's some preliminary information required. And the third and most important information, if his interview is planned at 10 o'clock, you reach by 9:45, and it shows your sincerity and commitment towards that kind of job. And many times we have many issues, traffic jam, rain, strike, and all those things happen, but these are all exceptional situations. But if you plan it well, I think it is extremely important to reach on time and be present. And when you are having this discussion, which is also on the sidelines, pay attention to the question rather than jumping to the answer and quickly what you know and what you want to tell. Don't tell. Ask. You understand the question first, and then you start responding to the question. I think these are the basic and very I would say hygienic approach towards interview. And then I think the interview goes on and on depending upon your level in the organization. But generally, we are talking about entry level, 3 to 4 interview rounds of interview may happen on one day or maybe at multiple days can happen. But we need to be prepared for those any kind of difficult and tough questions.
Be calm and composed. And I think, like what Dr. Anil is saying, one of the simplest things to be calm and composed is to reach 15 minutes early. And that gives you a very relaxed kind of feeling. Do you catch people in the interview trying to fib? I mean, so you ask a question like, what is the spelling of gentamicin? They do not know the spelling, but they will certainly make an attempt to answer it, whether it is wrong or partly wrong or fully wrong. So, do you
Mm.
catch people doing things like that? And then how does the interviewing panel respond?
Yeah, it happens. That I have seen people will give some bluff information. If I had to say something about it, and I have come across some of the instances. Some of the students they come, they don't know about their research, and they just give some wrong interpretation, which is easily we can point out whether we can figure out what is not done and what is just sake of telling. We can figure out, but I think we have to educate them, because that's my way of handling this kind of thing. And at the end of process we'll sit. So then what else, like we talk about family and all those things, and at the end we just give some casual feedback about if the person is sensible to understand that. I think this is what we have seen, and we can educate them, because this is the process of education also. It's not like what mistake you are done in the first round you should not do in some second place in some other place. And that's the intention I used to follow in my process of interviews.
Ritika Magade has a question. She says, "Sir, I'm a B Farm student. So well done, Ritika. You've made the right choice, and we wish you all the best for your career. What are the different career opportunities for me?" Dr. Shinde has been speaking about them for the past half hour or so. But specifically, sir, what advice would you give Ritika, assuming she has 1 year more to go for her B Farm?
Yeah, B Farm. I think B Farm. If you are keen to go for masters, you finish your masters, and then there is the plenty of opportunities. There are plenty of opportunities for a pharmaceutical industry, clinical research, as well as in the data management and pharmacovigilance. The jobs will be available, and it is going to explode. But for education and getting into the right stream, after B Farm, you decide which specialization you want, pharmaceutics or the pharmacology there are different specialization you can choose, and you can decide about that. I think that's my advice, personal advice to you.
So, Ritika, what I understand from sir is that after B Farm, we need to continue studying. Is that what you're trying to say, sir?
Yes, yes, yes. Very
Very
thank
clear.
you.
Yeah. So, BPharm is a very good degree, but alone it may not suffice. It's a very competitive market. So, we need to do an MPharm. When you do an MPharm, there are different subjects. So, just choose the one that appeals to you, something that you really enjoy. And our next question is from Abhiji, who says, I'm an MPharm student, pharmacology student. So, what do I do now? So, this is a very nice discussion now heating up. So, Hitika, let's see what answer Abhi gets from Dr. Shinde.
Yeah, I think if you are done a M Pharm and pharmacology or whatever is specialization you are done, I think you can look for a job of your interest. And as I repetitively mentioned, there are quite good number of job opportunities available for pharmacology students. It's medical writing, pharmacovigilance, quality, regulatory affairs, and data management also. Those are jobs are available. But if you are interested in the basic research, go for PhD, do research, and then come back to basic research in pharmaceutical organization or in a laboratories, those who are independently working. And there are plenty of opportunities, not only India, outside. There are many research organization who hire technically qualified people across globe. I hope I given a right answer and the right some direction towards next level, next
So,
path.
Abhi, the one option is to continue studying and do a PhD, but then the other one for a job. So, Dr. Shinde, what are the common sites? Though, of course, Abhi might be more experienced than both of us. How do you apply? You worked in some of the leading MNCs in the world. How do we reach you? How does Abhi reach you for a job?
So for a job applications, nowadays the process is very simple. Particularly global companies, global organization, they post on their job portals of companies' website. You keep looking for those applications portals continuously, and whenever there is an opportunity, the openings are announced, and you apply in that process. Number one, that is a straightforward and simple approach. And sometime you can also randomly send to the your profile CV to the different organizations, HR department, or if you know somebody in the medical heads of the different organization, you can send them through email or the hard copies through post. There are different ways of reaching out, and try and establish connect with resourceful people within the organization, and you will find some way to connect with the right people in the organization.
One other way, Abhi, is to reach out to your seniors, people who have done MPharm from your college, your university, and you will
Yeah,
find that there is this network of alumni which actually becomes stronger and stronger with age, with time.
yeah,
So,
I think
like for example, Dr. Shinde is from Aurangabad, so he may go anywhere in the world. And the moment you identify, you meet somebody else who is a doctor from Aurangabad, automatically you become friends. And the senior will automatically take on the responsibility of taking care of Dr. Shinde, assuming Dr. Shinde is junior. And the junior will, feel in a very safe place automatically that, this particular person is from my college, he or she is senior to me, and it's his or her responsibility to take care of me. It is also my right to demand being taken care of. So that kind of a thing also happens. So be friends with your seniors, the people who have passed out from your college. Even if you don't know them, you just reach out to them on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you will be very pleasantly surprised. They will go out of the way to take care of you. But, sir,
true.
speaking of rights and responsibilities, let's come to another question. Uh, we spoke of pharmacovigilance. So, what are our rights for pharmacovigilance? We have a right from the pharmaceutical industry. And Vinayak Sharma ji has joined us. What are our responsibilities? How can I, as a citizen of India, how can I contribute to pharmacovigilance and to better quality pharmaceutical care?
Yeah. So, in terms of safety reporting, different organizations have evolved different system, and then I think on every pack of any product when you use, on that pack it is mentioned uh, any untoward, any side effect, please report on this phone number or email address, and that's how we can create awareness about what untoward event happened with this product when it is used in a real practical setting. And that's the simple and best way to. The second approach, you inform your treating physician, and in turn they will be able to communicate through the sales team or through the medical team to the respective organization. And I think many times in India what happens is it's side effects are less reported, or I would say the underreported, and many times it is because there's a lot of labor intense documentation required. So it is not done in a expected manner, because our regulation in terms of marketed products is little bit different, and whenever there is a reporting happens, and particularly global organization takes care of this through sales team, whereas different organization, Indian companies, they have a little bit different approach towards it. But I think because of the current regulation in the country, the more stricter for the drug development studies than the marketed products. And I think it is every responsible citizen's responsibility, whenever there is a untoward event which is happened, inform to the pharmaceutical companies through email or the phone, that different mediums nowadays, or inform to the doctor also to communicate to the respective organization this product is. And according to you, it is related to the product which is used in your life, and that's what is the most important and relevant for a person.
Sir, two more questions. Dr. Manasi is completing MD pharmacology. So she says, any additional qualifications that are required along with MD to apply for the job of a medical advisor in a good company?
Yeah, I think as I said earlier also, sir, I think post MD anybody can apply, anybody can be absorbed in any pharmaceutical organization or a different kind of jobs. But it all depends upon interests of Mansi or any other candidate, and I think what you want to do, where which stream you want to do, whether it is medical affairs, whether it is clinical research, or it is medical writing. The different jobs are available for a medical people in pharmaceutical organization, and it all depends upon what kind of personality, what kind of your temperament, and what kind of aptitude you have for the different job. Because different job needs a different type of personalities, different kind of, like the medical affairs person is outspoken, talking to the different people, continuously engaged with the different type of communication, whereas if you are little bit quiet or introvert kind of person, and you work individual as a sole individual contributor, and then you can work behind the desk and then continue to work as a in the medical writing or pharmacovigilance kind of job would be suitable. So it all depends upon your interest, number one, what is your personality, and you can take anything. And I won't say that X job, the medical affairs or the clinical research or regulatory affairs is the best, and other jobs are the less important. It's all depends on what suits. And over and above this, your personal commitment. You're married, you have young babies, and you need to also manage your home affair and as well as your family. And that part is also extremely important in our life, and we have to take care of that. So I think it is a holistic approach towards a career we have to take. And if any additional information required, we can talk separately, but I think this is what I can say right now.
Mansi, other advice we can share. Uh, how do you strengthen your CV when you go for the interview? You already have an MD pharmacology, so that is gold standard. But how do we add extra? So some suggestions, not all need to be followed. You can write articles. So if you're interested in writing, you begin writing. Now, what I see amongst the junior boys and girls in endocrinology is everybody wants to write, but they say, "Well, sir, I will write only for a PubMed index journal. I will not write for anybody else. I will write only for Lancet and NEGM, and that also a review, 5,000 words." So what I would suggest is you begin writing letters to editor, 400 words, brief communication, 1,000 words, and at least get something on board. Uh, in IJCP group, which runs KK Talks, we have IJCP, Indian Journal of Clinical Practice. We are UGC indexed. That means indexed by the University Grants Commission, which means that the indexing is valid when you apply for the post of assistant or additional associate or additional or full professor. So write for us, IJCP. We also have AJD, Asian Journal of Diabetology, Asian Journal of Obesity, AJO, and then I know that my colleagues look after Asian Journal of Pediatrics and OB-GYN. So that would be a one step for you. Begin writing. If you don't know what to write, you write to the editor, and you write to five editors and say, sir, I would like to contribute an article to your journal, and tell me what you want me to write on. So that's one thing. Second is biostatistics. That is something very important, and many people are weak at that. I do know that training in pharmacology, training in community medicine, it involves a lot of biostats, but you might wish to pursue an extra course in that, an online course on biostats. That will help you. And so one is writing, second is arithmetic, right? And the third would be speaking. So practice your speaking skills, your communication skills, and do webinars, do TED talks, do blogs. So that is something you have on board, and build up a reputation around yourself. You might want to keep on working or speaking on women's health. You might want to do diabetes, and it may or may not help you in the first interview, but it will certainly help you in life. Sir, one last question, if you allow. This is from Nihar Mahindrakar. And Nihar Mahindrakar is also doing very well, a final year B Farm student. The question is very specific, and the question is specified with no diplomacy, sir. But considering the current scenario of clinical trials, and considering the expected evolution of the market in the next 5 to 10 years, which job will be easier to get? So, should I do an M Farm in pharmacology and toxicology, or should I do an M Farm in clinical research? Where are the jobs more easily available?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think I'm not. I will not be biased in this, but I always believe that the jobs are plenty, and I can tell you this is my experience in last 30 years. We don't get candidates when we start hiring, and I think this is whether it is a clinical research or whether it is pharmacovigilance or medical writing. I think follow your passion. I would suggest that. I think what you like, what subject you like, and that's I think you can um, continue to do it. And I think jobs would be available across spectrum. That's what I can say. That sir, I think there is no clinical research or pharmacovigilance or the,
Is
there
better
are
or
better because a lot of multinational organizations, the back end offices are getting established and the team size is getting into thousands. And I know few companies are also expanding their base because a lot of back end support, medical writing, pharmacovigilance, as well as regulatory affairs, dossier preparation is happening in India. It's like a kind of like BPOs and is a kind
yes?
of like that functionality, not exactly BPO kind of thing, but I think there is a lot of functionalities outsourced to the back end office team in India, and there are a lot of competent and resourceful people will be hired for those kind of jobs in India.
Yeah. Nihar, let me add to what Dr. Shinde has said. It also depends upon where you live. See, Dr. Shinde spoke about work-life balance, planning a family, having babies, and balancing that with your job, your own personal passions and hobbies, balancing that. So it depends upon where you live and where you are willing to locate. Now, if you want to live in, let us say, Baddi is in Himachal Pradesh near Chandigarh, and that is a hub of manufacturing, of pharma manufacturing. Or you wish to live in Aurangabad or in Sikkim, these are also hubs for manufacturing. Then you will have a different type of a job, a different type of a profile for your education. If, however, you are willing to relocate, or you happen to live in Mumbai or Bangalore, then the jobs are of a different type. Then manufacturing is not going to occur in Bombay city. It is not going to occur inside Bangalore city. Then you need a different job. And if you wish to move abroad, then maybe it'll be different. So perhaps, Nihar, first we answer the question, where would we ideally want to settle down? In a big city, in a small city, in your hometown, in Haryana or in Karnataka? And then maybe that will help you answer the question. I can
Yeah.
speak about my career choice. I love my subject. अगर भगवान मुझे 7 जन्म देंगे, I would want to become an endocrinologist again, and I would want to come back to Karnal in Haryana. And मैंने subject इसलिए चुना 25 साल पहले, 25 से ज़्यादा साल पहले, because I knew that with this I could come back home and survive in a very small town without labs, without big hospitals. And had I done maybe cardiac anesthesia or neuro anesthesia, I could never have come back home. So that is how I built my career. We also have Surinder ji greeting you, sir. And Swapna
Mm.
Jainji thanks you for the episode. She says, I am a business lady, and she's a very successful entrepreneur in Vellore. I've enjoyed listening to you, sir, and I will share this episode with my friends, and I'm sure somebody or the other will benefit from your career advice. Sir, one challenging question from Seali Apteji, and this question I know that many other people speak about it. So, uh, Ms. Tanuja and Ms. Pooja also add their voice to this question. Chat GPT, Open AI, artificial intelligence. How, to what extent is this going to affect medical writing or pharmacovigilance? Is it possible that human beings will become redundant and we won't be needed at all? So, we will begin giving jobs to the robots and not to us.
Yeah, I think it's a excellent question. I would say that I think it's going to be a very challenging time in the future. But I think uh, human the chat GPT or artificial intelligence, whether it is there or the future will be more intense, will be there, but the creativity plays the crucial role. And I think the human values, human contribution is for the creativity, and how do we make it best from that information. Because details like earlier days we used to get information only in a printed journal, but now everything is available in no time. These online journals are quickly available, but how to make it correct interpretation, how to make it translate into the correct benefit for the patients, and that's what a human being can do it. And the human creativity can contribute to the evolution of medical science, as well as in terms of treating our patients and getting better care for our patients. And I think that's what, and I'm very confident that artificial intelligence for the medical science is going to be beneficial for patient care as well as improving care of the patients. And we have seen in ophthalmic, we have seen in radiology, and the things are changing very dramatically. But it's not going to change with the surgical intervention. It's not going to change with some other different specialty where the intervention is required. The human intervention is required, and that's going to be extremely important. And I think that race will continue to go, and I think we need to find our ways to evolve in this process.
You
I
know,
hope I have.
Seali, when they invented the printing press, at that time also there was a lot of discussion. That is what the old literature says, that now the printing press has come, so writing will become extinct. But we keep on writing. And now I see the younger generation, they are very happy writing on their iPads or on the internet, but still we have the handwritten kind of thing. I continue to write my articles in hand, still in longhand, and then I
Hmm.
type them. So that increases my creativity. If I were forced to write something on the laptop directly, I would be able to write, but I'm very sure it would not be creative. Sir, thank you, heartfelt thank you from one of your students, your mentees, Dr. Sarup Hassan. And he says a very nice initiative that you've taken this up, a topic that is very rarely discussed. And he thanks you for having shaped his career.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sarup. It's not only your career which Dr. Shende has shaped, he has shaped my career as well. We've known each other for decades now, and in so many ways, big ways, small ways, obvious ways, and hidden ways, he has helped to shape my career as well, and that of many, many doctors across the country. But, sir, it's been great having you with us. So many youngsters, Dr. Varsha Deshpande also giving you a thumbs up and thanking you for all your services to the pharmaceutical industry. Uh,
thank you.
It's been great having you. To all the youngsters who have logged in, I would say that if you listen carefully to what Dr. Shende is trying to say, that is actually the right answer to all your questions. And if you are able to understand what he says, uh, you will get all the answers automatically. There is one concept called counseling. Counseling means that we spoon feed you, we tell you what it is to be done, what is not to be done. But there's a higher level, that is coaching. Coaching means we don't give you any answer, we just open your mind, we open your brain to your potential, to your possibilities, and then you choose the right path for yourself. And of course, always Dr. Shinde is there, and other seniors of the industry will be there to help you, to guide you. You can hold their little finger whenever you want. I myself hold Dr. Anil Shinde's little finger whenever I'm in trouble. So thanks to everyone for having logged in. Thanks for all your insightful questions, and I hope that this edition of Pharma Talks has helped all of you and will help you continue to shape your career and make our country a better place to live in. Dr. Shinde, if you allow, Batul is with us backstage. Could we please show your certificate of appreciation, please?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Before we
you.
conclude, any message you would have for everyone who is listening, for the people who are working in the pharma industry, and for the people who hope to get jobs in the pharma industry in the coming years? Any message for them?
Yeah, so thank you very much, sir, for this great initiative. And this happened just over a casual discussion about something, and and I'm very delighted to share my experience in the last 30-40 minutes. But I think beyond that also, I'll be available on a for any kind of discussion. And I think my piece of advice to all youngsters and those who want to start a career in pharmaceutical company, I think industry is growing, and I have seen in last 30 years industry have grown, and you are going to see the the phenomenal growth in pharmaceutical organization in India. And whether you are in function of any like drug development or the research or medical affairs or regulatory, it's going to be exploding. Try learning different things, do different things, different days, different learning. Keep your eye and ear open. Try and keep doing different newer things in your life, and don't work in a comfort zone. Wherever you are, you try to switch your domain and gain expertise. And that's my one simple advice, to stimulate your brain and keep your active gray matter, and so that you are not getting tired of doing repetitive things. But some people like repetitive things to do, continue to that. And I think an environment is very favorable in our country and outside country also. There are lots of opportunities for Indians, and it's up to you. It's our individual choice to explore different opportunities. And wish you all the best to all of you starting career with pharma, as well as those are already in the pharmaceutical companies, as well as the clinical research organization. And India is growing, and no country in the world can ignore India's contribution. And we are contributing to all development, what's happening across India, and we are party of this development, and we are proud of this development. So thank you very much for sir for giving me opportunity to share my experience.
Thank you, sir. The pleasure is ours. It is our privilege, actually, that we are able to serve the entire country and humankind. सर को थैंक यू बोलेंगे. थैंक यू सर. शुक्रिया, धन्यवाद, मेहरबानी. Thank you for being with us, and we hope to have you again on the show. We have Med Talks every day from KK Med Talks, and I host the Monday and Thursday episode. On Monday, we are continuing Pharma Talks now. Sorry, on Monday we have Med Talks, and on Thursdays we have Pharma Talks. And we look forward to engaging everyone who is logged in today in different aspects of health, different aspects of well-being. With this, sir, thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you.